Okay.
Twitch has accepted it. YouTube has accepted it. Waiting for Facebook to accept it. Facebook has accepted it. You got your timer set to 55?
Uh, Now I do.
Okay, start your timer.
Okay. Start it.
Okay, when you clap your hands, then you will be on the air.
Okay. Peace and love, everyone. You are now listening to Talking Peace. I'm your host, Deidra EmEl, Executive Director of the Western New York Peace Center. And today we have Victory Ross, our board chair, and Talia Rodriquez, our Western New York Women's March coordinator. That's a long one. Welcome, you two. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Super
Good.
excited to be here.
Yeah. And you were on with me not too long ago, Talia, so I appreciate you getting back on after all the events have taken place. So before we get started, we're going to just do our Thanksgiving. And we just like to just, thank the creator for, the land, for the ocean, for the fish in the sea, for all the small creatures and the insects and the pollinators and our buzzing bees, everything that's coming alive for spring and providing food for us. Uh, we would like to, just give thanks for the rain. And this may not always be a nice thing to look at, or people are looking forward to the sun, but we also need the rain as well to help provide sustenance for us. So we give thanks for the rain. We give thanks for them sun, moon, and stars. We give thanks for the grasses of the field. We give thanks for all living creatures. We give thanks for the pure love and peace and connection that still emanate in the universe, and we hope to continue that illumination to each person that we meet. And in the traditional Haudenosaunee way, we say Nyahweh and No.
No,
And
no.
in African traditions, we say Ashe. So,
Okay. Actually,
okay, thank you. So, thank you for coming on. So, today we're going to talk about what do we think, how we thought the Women's March went. And it was this year, March 26th of in the spring. And so, yeah, we're just gonna, just kind of talk about it and have another debrief, basically, and let our audience know what we thought and what we would like to see next year. And of course, we invite you all to let us know what you would like to see at our at the women's marches in the near future. So, what values would you all want to bring to the table tonight? Vicky, let's start with you.
well, so often I just have to come down to, well, maybe I'll mention I have to go with truth and love. Truth and love, because I think first of all that's what Dr. King said. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. And I feel like those are the sort of the two wings or the two prongs or the even the yin and yang in a way of what we need to get where we want to go. And I feel like certainly for women's issues and for issues that women care about, those two things are critical. So
Most definitely. Talia?
I would say celebration. I think
Mhm.
celebration is always so much of our planning and reflection process. And I'm glad that even from an academic perspective, we're taking time to do post reflection, because I just want to celebrate all of the individuals that came out to gather with us, and all of the each and every single issue that they were coming to advocate for, because I feel like there was a diversity of issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed, agreed. I think I want to bring I don't know. I don't know, just ditto. I have to think on it some more, but I think, diversity, um, and focus are the words coming to me right now. Diversity and focus. Um, and I'll end it there. I'll elaborate later. But so what do you think went really well? Let's start with you, Talia. You were saying that everybody kind of brought some of their own issues. Do you think they were more personal, or do you think that many other women could really relate to the issues that was brought to the table at the march?
I think that many women could identify with the issues that were coming up because in a way I feel like, and you bring this up, it's really all a manifestation of violence, and that's what we're, for peace. But I think the other thing that kind of got me thinking was that, and we've talked about this, is like, how do we continue the conversation? Because so many people, after they said their piece, I feel like people wanted to reflect and people want to be like, oh my goodness, and add in. And I'm like, we could be there all day. And I think that in itself is a blessing. But just to be energized to see people show up and that they were supportive of the march, I'm just so grateful for both of you and all of your leadership, because I'm always very proud of both of you.
Well, the same here, because to me, it definitely takes a team to do what we do, and I appreciate you all as well. Vicky, what do you think?
Well, I think when I think about the book Hood Feminism
Mm-hmm.
really had a big effect on me,
Okay.
and that was when it already made sense to me. Nikki Kendall's book. That's what I was just checking.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name again? Nikki Kendall wrote it. But I mean, it was true. Even before I read that, we were sort of doing that because the Women's March, we sort of, it's that mother hen or whatever, take all the issues into us because our children's issues, our partners' issues, our parents' issues, our people's issues, our care, our neighbors' issues, and our own issues are so tied together
Mm-hmm.
because women are we connect, we're caregivers, we're caring, so we're caring about all those issues, so all those practical issues, so all of those issues, so some of them were straight women's issues, but
Yes.
some of, and lots of them that aren't straight in women's issues still were straight women's issues because we want to feed our children healthy foods. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a woman's issue,
Right.
I mean, so the breadth, and I appreciated when you said diversity and focus, which of course we did have a good lot of diversity. I think that has always been a strength of the Women's March here in Western New York. But focus, so it wasn't, there, people were free to bring in what they wanted to, as
Right.
Talia was saying, but there still was an underlying focus on especially international women's rights, environmental justice, and peacemaking in war-torn areas.
Yes.
So I felt like that gave us a little bit, so the other things got mentioned too, but it
Mm-hmm.
did give us a sort of a core concentration.
Do
So
you think we should continue on that type of path, or do you think we should like really narrow it? And for instance, let's say if we narrowed it to next year's is just about environmental sustainability. Do you think we could like pull out so many things to focus just on that? Should we do that, or should we kind of stay, where we are? Anybody?
I think for me, I like the idea of eclectic thought. Like, I like the idea of pluralism, but also because I really think that one, I will give credit to the Buffalo organizing community, that like people in Buffalo work together in a different way than other places. Shout out to our unions, we're nothing. But I think the other thing is like, for me, when I think of the march that my grandma went to that inspired my participation with the center, like everybody, they were there for the same issue, but it was different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I was also thinking like, how are our identities linked to the environment? And I was reading this article about Alabama and areas that were counties that were concentrated with African American communities that did not have the infrastructure of plumbing, right? Because the state itself hasn't invested in it. And it's like you can go and talk about someone's identity and how that kind of with a historical perspective affects the way they interact with the environment. And I just thought that was profound because I was thinking also about Black Maternal Health Week, which is coming up, that I'm really proud to celebrate. So I don't know, I just feel like I stand around such great organizers and everybody brings like their own thing. But I do think that maybe we could incorporate like a sentence or like do something more where there's like that one stream of sameness. But I was just really inspired by you too. I mean, you brought a lot of energy and you looked awesome on the news. It was so fun to be in front. And, you know, I'm just really excited about everyone being able to better shape their message, like when we are having these conversations digitally now.
Yeah. Yeah, Vicky,
Well,
did you want to say anything on that or?
yeah, I would just say, well, first of all, I thought it was sort of a happy medium. So there were focal points, but people still brought in, because I'm going to say it may not be, I'm sure it's not a secret to you, Deidra, to either of you, Talia. You both know me well enough to just the way my mind works, everything is connected. So so then I just see it as, even if we said, okay, well, it's going to be on economic or environmental justice, then we say, yeah, but that war-making machine is the worst. And we know that the U.S. military is the biggest polluter in the world, right? So, or the resource wars, the water wars that are coming because people don't. So it sort of bleeds into everything else because we are all connected. So our issues are connected. So I think the way you have it now, where there's some focal point, but other things are also, can make their way in and the connections can be made. A nice balance of a little of both.
Yeah. I think I agree with both of you. I've just been agreeing with, because
that's why we're all here together.
Yeah, we're all together.
But yet we are so different because hello.
Exactly. But that's why I love about, just working with you all, because, you all just bring very interesting talents and ideas and, just ways of thinking to the table. And I know when my first, Women's March, it was all about focus to me. But yet we still had so many different things to focus on. And I wanted to see change happen after the pep rally. I wanted to see the change happen right away, And so kind of finding that balance of like, what do we do after the Women's March to kind of follow through on some of those, on some of the things that were said, and to remind people of why we march, because that was our theme, a few weeks ago. It's like, why we march? Well, because we want to see this change happen, and it did. We want to see that change happen, and it, and it did. It improved in some way, or such and such hurt us, and now they're, rethinking, such and such a law, or something like that. What did you think about, let's say, logistics of marching from City Hall to the library and having it at the library? Because this is our first time ever doing it indoors like we did. So what do y'all think about that? Anybody can jump in.
Okay. I am of both minds, because when I did my speech, I was outside and people got to cheer for me. And when you first told me, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like it. But then I loved it. Like, I felt like for this year, it was perfect because just having the reprieve of the chairs and the calmness of the library and being like, okay, it was a distinct shift of space. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of set the tone for the audience. And I did want to say, I think that the change did happen just because Deidra, if you see the diverse people we had in the room, the focus on the international justice was that for me. Like the fact that that was said and that what was incorporated into the agenda, I remember watching the video and looking into the audience and like seeing everyone's face. And I think the change happens because they get to interact with a conflict or something from a different perspective. Do you know what I mean? From a more personal perspective and not so removed on the news. So I think it was transformative for the people who went, and I really would like to invite the speakers forward to maybe ask any of those questions, or DJ, maybe to have people from the audience say, hey, if you had follow-up questions, you can meet them at this day and, you know, ask questions, because people from the community I know were really energized. And there were kids there and they were really good too. So I think that's something.
Yeah, yeah, I love that idea. I love that idea for you know, being there for question and answers, and you know, for people to talk more later on. What do you think, Vicky? Did you like the new setup? You know, that was a compromise that we made for the weather.
Well, I think it worked great, and it makes me think back to what you said about, you know, continuing the work. Is that it could even be a like talking circle kind of arrangement where people, you know, can both respond or, you know, bring what it reminds them of in their life, so that we get that crossover of how these issues are connected and how our experiences are connected also, you know, and our solutions, right? So just to increase the interaction, to increase that, you know, I know that it's back to two things that you've talked a lot about. One is people telling their own story, right? So then that militates towards people telling their own story, and also getting the chance to sort of point out how other people's stories might, you know, resonate to you or your experience.
Right.
So, and then back to furthering the work, you know, both the internal work as well as the organizing work of getting to share resources or ideas of next steps and things like that.
Right, right. Do you think that from the 2017 to now, that the energy has changed from you know, that the energy have changed, and should we keep the same energy from 2017, try to keep that up? Or is it, you know, is it okay that we kind of shift, you know, kind of shift focus or shift the energy a bit?
I just have to say,
yeah,
no, we can't help. We can't stop. You know what? First of all, there's the whole thing of you can't bathe in the same river twice. And then somebody said this, actually, did you hear it? When we were in that training recently, we were in a training where somebody said, you can't bathe in the same river once. Then I realized that, yes, you can't, because it's moving the whole time. So
I was like, at what point am I going to understand?
Come on, you get it. So you can't bathe in, because the
water, the river is constantly moving.
So it's not the same river now versus next week, but it's also not the same river. It's not the same water, right? It's not the same molecules of water now as it is in a half a second or in a minute or in, you know, it's constantly changing. So the energy of 17, what happened in 17, and, you know, I mean, it's good to, you know, I think it's important to know our history and to see and remember and even honor it, but also to recognize that it's always in the context of here and now. So we don't have access to that. That was then. That came out the way it came out, and that's what it was. We've had a lot of different things that happened in our nation, in our community, huge things that have happened since then that have affected, I mean, everything from the pandemic to the massacre to the, you know, to the summer of 2020, you know, to change after change. And so it's the energy, it's just, you know, it's always going to be unique to the time and place when it's happening.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Because I'm just like, you know, well, now we're like, yeah, you know, rah, rah, you know, let's do it. and we're all going to do it in peace and love.
Yes.
Peace and love. So
yes. I feel like that's what it's been from the beginning. Okay, I have like 99 things. Like the fact that we survived COVID is crazy. There are organizations, legacies that interacted with that public health crisis and it ended it. So the fact that we survived, and I think the other thing too, I want to give both of you credit because one, I feel like from my perspective, it's the largest female-based like march or rally in the region, right? And we have to understand where we are in context to the rest of our sisters that are watching us fight because maybe they can't. You know what I'm saying? And Deidra, you're really good at this, either internationally or in states where there's just less energy around females and expression and all people. Do you know what I mean? But it's explicitly named that way because, and to your point, it started with a certain set of values, but I think it's a huge compliment in all seriousness that people come there and they feel safe there to express their opinions. And I think that's a compliment to both of your leadership because so much in Buffalo, people don't want to say because of where they are. So I think it's just cool. Like, I think we have the coolest thing because it's like, everybody's with us. Let's go. You have like, everyone can come. And I think those are like those are the messages of peace. I feel like, I think it's really cool, but I'm also biased because I'm the coordinator.
yeah. Well, I kind of felt a mixed thing because I think I like the month. I like the, I loved May, I loved it, but we want to give that sacred space, in Buffalo, to honor our communities that have been torn apart, with the, last events. And so in March, I wanted to make sure that, we had that space to, I'm glad you said, like, we have to march. Because I was just like, we got to be indoors.
Because I need to wave my Puerto Rican flag. I found the life-size one. Y'all, it's over. I only had the little one because my hands were busy. But next time I found the life-size one, I'm going to text you both like, we're set.
You're right. That's okay. But so I love the march, and I just don't want us to lose. I didn't want to lose the protest or the march feel in the library, and people like, oh, gotta be quiet, closing, don't, call and response, don't say much, don't sing too loud. And so hopefully as people get used to maybe being in there, they'll get, used to being loud in the library for at least an hour or two.
And what tremendous partners they were, Deidra. I thought it was so nice how everything was set up, and Anne attended, which was super cool. And I gave her the face. I was like, gave her the nod, like, yes. And she gave me the nod. I was like, let's go. Because I think that for me, another reason why the library is important is because it's the place of plural thought. And right now books are being banned because they're telling our history. So I think that was even a statement. Like, Deidra, I feel like so much of the leadership is just aligned. And then like looking back, I was like, this is just really amazing. I felt very energized. And I also felt like we should interview Miss Pat first. I was like, if we're going to talk to anybody, I want to talk to her first. Like, she just made it so great.
So tell us about your new idea for keeping the Women's March, doing a Women's March podcast or something like that. So tell us more about what you're thinking.
So in the beginning, when we had the Gender Justice Task Force, we did meet monthly, and we had like kind of like these group sessions, right? But they were private. So for me, because I'm constantly about broadening the conversation, I thought we should continue them, but around the speakers and future speakers and or people who are advocating for the communities that support us. I love the idea of doing it the way we're doing it now, and then sharing it with either radio stations, whether they be local, because I think there's a great deal of oral history and like people history that's captured when our speakers speak, and also diverse voices. So I would really love if you could join me. I was telling Victory. I was like, do you think Deidra will do it? I was like, I think it's going to be a good idea. And I know you have so much on your plate. So I was like, okay, maybe just a monthly feature, because talking peace is so much more than the Women's March, but I know I'm most passionate here when I'm talking about it. And I just wanted to invite other people forward. So
yeah. And if I would love to see it as a talking peace segment, at least, like once a month, so we know that that's what we're talking about every fourth Monday or whatever it is. So I think that'd be awesome, really awesome. So let's do it. Let's go, as you said.
So Deidre's like, okay, she knows what's next. I'm
Let's
elated.
go.
I'm elated, and I think part of it, and Victor, I wanted to give you an opportunity to reflect, but I think so much of the message is hybrid. We'll be in physical spaces, we'll be in digital spaces, we'll be at the library, we'll give you a book list of just present immersion in activism and social justice language and people, so that you can maintain that spirit that you need to keep working on your own mission, because it's so important. And I draw from both of you, know that I call you in all states and phases.
Yeah, most definitely. So when are we getting started on this? Is it in May, maybe?
I feel like it should be in May, and I feel like we should come up with a schedule, and we can do a list. And I think it's as equally as important that we celebrate the people that were able to gather with us, but as folks that want to gather with us in the future and or maybe couldn't be there. There's so much we could talk about. We could do a show off of each sign, because I have a picture on my Facebook of just the signs, and the fact that human hands made that in preparation to coming out in unity and peace, like, just jazzes me up. So I was like, don't, like, we could talk about everything, but I think it's just to continue the space, the hybrid space of saying, just meet us, like, wherever we are, we're going to continue to advocate.
I love that. I love that idea. So yeah, let's do it. You're on, so get ready. Get ready to do it. What do you see as men's roles or male roles in this space, and what do we want to see, and what do we see as far as having male voices or roles in this type of space, Women's March space?
I would just offer how much I love it when I see the signs. I'm with her, they have that one. So, and the men, it really says something about their comfort level, their own inner security, their lack of male need to dominate, to always dominate. When a man is able to accept and recognize the strength of women. And I think of this one woman in India. I was at the Women's Diversity, Biodiversity Conference when I went to the Women's Biodiversity Conference. And so there's a lot of talk about women. It was all women all over the place. There were a lot of men doing media, but it was mostly the women who came, and sometimes with the support of men of moving the things, or all the seed savers of bringing the seeds and all that. But so this one woman, and I just can't remember her name off the top of my head. She was a doctor. She was a lifelong activist, but she was married to, I think he was a Westerner too. So in fact, he was a Westerner, and she's an Indian woman, and they were married, and they had their, they were fostering biodiversity and farming, and, they invented a drying machine so that the food could stay better longer, that is solar operated and everything. Do you remember seeing some stuff on that when I got
No, I understand what you're saying.
I know about that, Vicki. I'm like, hold on, sorry.
But my main point, I'm sorry that it takes me so long to get there, was that she talked about, it's two wings, and I would say it's all the feathers too. So there's different, it's not just, male, female, or, we've got lots of, non-binary people or other feathers and needs, so it's a whole bird is needed for flying. You don't just have one wing is just flapping along. No, we need the whole bird. So that means, male, female, and everything else, everyone else, And so I feel like men who really get that, they are secure there, they're comfortable there, and they are so gratefully welcomed there.
Talia, what do you think?
I think it's a very well stated question. I want them to feel equal. Like I think of men as our equals in the work, because so many times they see the world through the lens of their mother, and they absorb the good and bad energy that their mothers process. I have a son, and he went to the one when it was outside, I think in May. And for me, I think that I saw many of their faces be reflective. And that's really the space I want to build. Like, I want them to come there and have hopes for their future daughters, to think about that, like Victory said, reflect on the people that have shaped them, because I feel like every strong man has a story about a woman who shaped his self-esteem in part alongside other strong people. And I just want them to reflect on those people when they come and feel safe.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying just to come and contribute, like, even if they want to talk about their moms, or they want to talk about something that they've experienced or something they feel strongly about, like, I feel like we would welcome a male voice. But it's just as long as we know that it is fitting, within our values of nonviolence.
Yeah, I think that I was just listening to the radio not so long ago, or yesterday actually, and this was more on the racial end of things, but this was a young white woman, speaking about how and around other Black men and so on, and there's a part of a program for youth, and she was saying how important it was to to teach children and to be in the spaces, and as far as racial understanding and stuff like that. And a young man said, it was important for her to also be in white spaces to teach white children, and to teach other people or white communities, about how to love other communities, how to connect to other communities. And so that's how I kind of feel about, the male and other genders in that space, is that, especially with male dominance and patriarchy, understanding more about what women and females, go through, and our struggle, and around the world, locally, what have you, helps them to change their environment. Because if it's your group, quote unquote, your group, maybe you need to have those conversations in other circles, in other male dominated circles, so that you can start to change, how you do things. We need, like you said, those allies and supporters, and that, we're in a struggle for humanity, survival, period. And so once we understand it's a humanity thing, it's an earth survival thing, that, it's beyond, just, what women want, but, it's about seeing the next generations of the earth and of humanity surviving and thriving. Then, we see, we got to see each other all in the same boat, because we are. Like, I want everybody to clean up the garbage just like the man next door to me. Why? Because it's going to keep our, street clean. It's going to keep our grass, unpolluted. We both can eat, so, our issues are really, everyone's issues, and vice versa. So I like to, hear and see more,
So an acknowledgement to your leadership then, Deidra, of leading so many people being in the front, taking coverage from multiple channels, being interviewed and simultaneously facilitating, being cute and funny while you were doing it, and well composed because I was feeling the jacket. Like, think about how significant that is. And that's why I'm like, the Women's March must go on because it means so much to so many people. I think about Joe Cook from the Buffalo News. Like, he really took emotional photos. Like, you can tell he was impacted. And I was like, that is a man. And I was like, I'm so glad he's here because that we get to benefit from his creative artistic lens. So I thought the media were so generous. I told Victory, I said, we got more coverage than some senators. Like, I don't know what's going on.
I think so too. Yeah, we want to give a big up to, to all the channels that came out, to Buffalo News that came out, to Channel 4, to, was it 2 and 7, I believe were out. And
I mean, who's counting, but it's 4, 2, and 7 and the Buffalo News.
Well, and the Channel 4 gave us 2 spots beforehand, which was actually every bit as helpful. So it was almost as if it was all orchestrated, which it wasn't, because we had to help along every part of the way.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And that's a big deal too. I think we underestimate media and, how to, just get the, the word out, to get, the mission out there, so the media, has a lot of what do you call it? I want to say pull, but have a lot of strength, in how what people think and what people see. And so so yeah, most definitely they brought a lot of positive, news, and I think they did a great job, and people's personal stories, which I thought was interesting as well. Which I thought, I think was really good, because that's what it's about, is learning about each individual's, reason why are they there, so what going forward, I know we mentioned the spaces of doing our radio, so we're going to have a segment. I know a couple of years ago we tried some small group spaces to talk about solutions.
Yeah, we did.
Some of the issues. Do you both see that, see us kind of implementing that with the march, or would it be just at times, we see appropriate? We got time for that?
Oh yeah,
trying to do small group evaluation.
Yeah, of course. As long as I don't have to physically go somewhere, it could be digital. We can weave it in. But I definitely think, okay, so Deidra, what I wanted to say is I like the idea of hybrid. Like, there is social audio, there's little mini clips. Like, to me, I think because I have spent some time in media since the last time I joined as a coordinator, I understand how much content we produce. There's so many vulnerable but thriving voices. And I think also a compliment to both of your leadership and the library, where you could tell that the people who were speaking really felt comfortable and empowered. And I was telling Karen King and the folks over at the History Museum the same thing. It's who sets the space, right? And the actual energy in the room. So I think it's incredible that we continue the conversation. We do like social audio, we share what we do, we host it on our website, and we just let that audio just replay in 10,000 ways, because so many people need to hear, including the song, right? The song that was I cried, and I'm not even a crier. I was tearing. I was like, oh my goodness, because there were two. There was one that was the play. I believe she was from Afghanistan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was.
Then there was a song that the social media that he sang, like he had a beautiful voice, and they said that he got punished for making the song. Remember they made that song?
The song was Iranian, was it, from.
Yeah, I mean, it impacted people.
Right.
Like, and it impacted people.
Yes. Yes. And in fact, I felt like the music was just another wonderful strength. So that was everything from, by the way, right before, remember, I took a phone call right before we started, and that was from the young woman who wrote the testimony poem. That was her testimony, was her poem
Yes.
to America, Dear America.
Yes.
Remember the thing that I read?
Yes. Yes.
She was calling me just because I had let her know, where she could find the video and everything, because it's still on our website, and I think we're going to have it on the YouTube channel before long. But anyway, I mean, she was very excited. And the other one, so the Iranian song, we should be able to post that and a translation of that. I think I have one, or Nadia could give you.
Yeah, in the video it had subtitles, Victoria.
Right, that's right. The video had subtitles, but also Nadia said that she would translate the one that was from the other young Afghan woman that did the one woman play. So the person who sang the song, it was Ariana Saeed.
We're gonna link it. We gotta link it. So
yeah, so we can ask, when I know Nadia, when she gets a chance, she said she's able to translate Dottie, and so she'll translate it so that we have the translation of the words, because the words is a women's rights song, and then the play was what Mina Mirzad created that play just herself.
It was incredible. And can I just say, Deidra, and I'm going to give you the floor because it's your show, but this is my response to people who are like, so you're just marching. No, because someone experienced something and they're finding a sense of justice because they got to have their voice heard by hundreds of people in a space where they felt powerful. That's what it's about. It's about the physical manifestation of coming and saying, I support your story. And if you're for peace, then you're with it. Us. And I was going to say other words and I was like, hold on, us, and we want you. And I think that idea is just powerful to me. It's what makes me love this march. And Victory, thank you for bringing that to us, because I think that was part of the strength of the presentation, is hearing voices from all over the world.
Yeah. And I agree. I love the music there and the different expressions of the heart, different expressions. So you had music, we had drumming, we had skits. That's the first time we had that I remember a skit, at the Women's March. So that's different. Some in past years, I know we had what is the Confident Girl, mentoring, and they would do like little presentations and stuff like that. And so seeing more youth doing presentations would be great. But I love seeing different songs, coming from different countries, spoken word. Like I love that. I forgot her name, but she was from Phenomenal Ladies of Rhythm.
Bernice Turner.
Oh my gosh, she did such.
We have to have them on the show. They're the type of, it's like, I wanted to be like, oh my goodness, tell me how can I know you?
We're talking about Bernice.
Yes, shout out. Because, it was an impromptu, but that's what I think I loved the most, that people felt comfortable to do a little bit more, to say a little bit more, to say, hey, can I say something? Or I have, a word. And
times that we had at least 3 people who were completely unscheduled. That was great.
And I loved it. And
that morning.
I totally, how I am about control, but I loved it. And can I just say, again, a word about Miss Pat, I was so inspired because in the Pentecostal community, in the church, which is a powerful, powerful vehicle for creative change, we sing. We sing to get everybody together, to get the message. And she just looked regal in that jacket, in the coat. Yeah. And I was like, you are just presiding over this space. Thank you for sanctifying it with the song that you made. She made a song and she shared it with us. I was like, this is special. I was so cool. I came up to her, I was like, you're so cool. I was fangirling her.
I loved it. I loved it.
Cool.
Somebody said, James Brown her, and just disrobe her, get her mink off her,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was so wonderful, and also "Wade in the Water." That
Yeah.
song moves my heart. That just and
And
phenomenal.
we sang that last year. Sorry. And it was important, I feel like, Deidra, to have that consistency.
We did sing that last year.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
I remember because we were talking about it because, I was nervous because we were by the water, or you said we wanted to, but I believe we did. And I'm just really proud, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject, but the music is important, and I'm glad I have nothing to do with it. But it's a surprise to me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, because it's cool to have control and to encourage, but then also to have that element of like, I don't know what my peers and my neighbors are really going to truly say.
Or what they're inspired to do. Go ahead, Vic. I'm sorry,
I was
Victor.
going to say, "We shall not be moved."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh
yeah, that was my inspiration. And before each women's march, I don't know if y'all know this, but I kind of create a playlist for myself to kind of get me pumped up for, women's march. And or if I don't do the playlist, I might have a song or so that just kind of get me in the mindset and kind of meditative, what have you. So this year, that was the song that moved me. And because I'm just like, what is the, like I pray about it, and I meditate on it. I say, like what, forces of the universe, conscious, what is it that, I need to say, what is it that that we need to promote. And that came to me. And I thought we didn't sing it during the march, but we did.
Oh yeah. I know. And actually, I have to apologize to you because the reason that we had the song that Miss Pat made was because we didn't sing that song again. Because when we were about to sing that song again, and I knew that we had sung it, and also I know that Pat made
I feel like people were screaming encore at one point. Like someone was singing and people were like, yes, more. And I was like, this is incredible energy. Like I just thought it was so cool.
Because when she sang, "Poor Man Fighting a Rich Man's War," because she did that song up, and I want to say 10 years ago, at least.
I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Well, you might have heard it from that, because we had it. I know she sang it a couple of times that I can think of. That were some things about the drones. It was in that era when I was doing a lot of stuff with the drones and the Syracuse people and like that. So that's when she created that song and shared that song and had that song. And so then I just thought, if she could do that song,
that's our anthem.
Yes, I think
love that song, and it really moves. It really moves.
Yeah.
Because she has authentic energy and talent.
When
she started, I've never met Miss Pat in my life. When she started singing, I said, okay, we're here. We showed up. And I think the other for me is the incredible poise of her body, the way she held herself, but then the sound that was coming out and how it was impacting other people. I was like, we're Breakfast and Tiffany's and like marching, and this is my magic combination. It was amazing. It was amazing. So honestly, to both of your points, we talked about asking like the people who come, like, what's your favorite book? Or to Deidra's point, what's your music that you find inspiring? And I think it's so important to share those resources and to curate that kind of information sharing, because we all like need that core source of inspiration when we don't call each other and say, I'm going to tell you something. Blah, blah, blah.
Inspiration, yes. Yeah. To keep fighting the good fight. Yes, most definitely. I think that I want to learn that song. I got to learn that song now. I would love to.
I could help you learn it.
Yeah. And now we have it on recording. So what I hope to do, if we could, maybe during our segments, is play a portion of our, the Women's March, and then talk about, the things that was said, or have that person on, to interview and so on, I think that would be really cool. Just to discuss it more and bring out our singers and even our drummer and our sister that, that did the Thanksgiving, Jill Claus,
That's
and,
Jill.
Ross Jomo.
Iguanist.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. How do you say her Haudenosaunee name?
Giguanist. And so I stopped calling her that for a while because somebody said to me, well, you shouldn't use a person's indigenous name outside of the longhouse. So
Oh,
okay,
really?
that. But wait a minute. Then when I was talking with Yiguanist about it, she's like, well, I am doing this Ganoño that's supposed to be done by men. So it's like,
oh, let's go.
It's like, if we're gonna be, it's like, where do you pick and choose which things we're gonna observe and we're not gonna? So I'm back to calling her Iguanist.
Okay.
I'm all about chosen names. My son wanted to be called Sonic. I'm like, if that's what motivates you, sir, that's fine. On paper, you are Gadio Juan for the state of New York, but.
No, Iguanist means she walks in beauty.
She's so much of the strength of the human spirit. I think I absorbed of just being in the room and seeing people who were just amazing leaders. I just feel really lucky every time I leave that you all let me be a part of it. I just feel lucky and so excited. I'm always talking about next year. I'm like, Deidra, we got to do this, and it's like we're still cleaning up. So it's just really exciting. And our team, can I just say how important it was that there was a pregnant person there? Because pregnancy is such a beautiful time in people's lives. And for me, it was so beautiful that she was also in control of the presentation. I was looking at her like, because it's important. You don't people have this myth that when you're pregnant, I was pregnant and running 7 schools for Say Yes. And I had, and I was walking down the hall and people are like, you're in charge. I was like, yes, I'm in charge. So for me, it was just so cool to see people from our team there and to have someone pregnant and to have her daughter there and just all different stages of life. Because for me, it's this idea that female power starts in the womb. It's transformative. You absorb all of the energy of the people who pray for you and hope for you. So I just feel really lucky that she was able to be there with the, such
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, she's due in a few weeks now. And I wanted to give a shout out to our assistant, Nicole Perrone. I call her the talking, head in the box, because, with Austin Powers, you
she's
just
talk to the secret weapon. It's we call Nicole.
Right, yeah, because she's great at the presentations, our online, presence, without her, we couldn't do, have as much as we do. And her presentations are amazing. She's amazing. We don't use as much of her potential as I would like. I think she has a lot to say and a lot to, contribute as well.
It'll come. I feel like it'll come, Deidra. It'll come. It'll be that one day where we're like, okay, we've been waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm going to have her do a presentation soon enough. Some historical, anthropological, information I would love to see her do. But I would like to say, thank you to Shayna Merchant Marshall. That was our pregnant lady running the slideshow and just all of our volunteers and our committee. So if you'd like to join a committee audience, please let us know, send information or send your information to assistant@WNYPC.org. We have some upcoming events we have Medea Benjamin, who she's a political activist and close friend of the Peace Center. And she wrote a wonderful book called War in Ukraine. And so she'll be doing a book talk at Fitz Books and Waffles on Ellicott Street. So please visit our Facebook site to get more information about that. But that will be April 23rd, Sunday, April 23rd at 1 p.m. at Fitz Books and Waffles. So please register with us so we know that you're coming. So that'd be great. And we have Winsler Nosey Apache leader and a beautiful speaker. He'll be coming April 21st, Friday, April 21st. So we have a whole weekend of, Earth Day acknowledgement and events. And so please come out April 21st. Winsler Nosey and places to be announced. But that'll be Friday evening.
That's fun. That's
yeah.
super.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
Stay listening.
Yes. So follow us on Facebook so you know what our next events are, what's happening. And thank you, Talia. Thank you, Victory, for joining us today. I appreciate you too.
Oh,
and
can I just do my plug before?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so Deidra, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for accepting a feature in Talking Peace. Thank you both for your leadership. And I just want to say how excited I am that all of the speakers are coming, how Buffalo is now and has always been a destination for speakers who are progressive, and how lucky we are to be able to host them. And how very similarly, I'm really excited because I really want to be able to bring, we're going to try virtually, Chanel Lopez, who's the subject of my Latina History feature. She is the first Deputy Director for LGBTQ relations for the governor. She is Afro, Latina, and identifies as a trans woman. And we are hoping to observe a day of silence, which is April 14th. It's against bullying. Y'all know how education is really important to me and how passionate I am about it, and how bullying is always used as an excuse to push our boys out of the schools. So just really important to me that we center our advocacy around bullying April 14th. And then what we do is we do a break the silence event. So then after you take your vow of silence, however long it is, because I know I'm going to practice, because y'all know I like to talk. We have an event where we talk about different diversity of issues and perspectives. So I want to have Chanel come, and humbly, I would love for the Peace Center to be involved, but I'm just so excited to be able to host these amazing speakers, whether virtual or in person, and have people be so excited about your message.
Thank you so very much, Talia. So you all have now been listening to Talking Peace, and we have been talking peace and love and solidarity. Thank you so much for being on with us today. And until next time, peace and love.